All right, day 373. What we're looking at today is we've been filtered on Redfin on just 4 bedroom homes that have been less on the market for less than 7 days. And today, that's how I found this property for 193K. This is 776 Lamplighter Circle, Birmingham, Alabama, 35214. And on this page, on just 4 bedroom, this property looks pretty renovated. And I would say if I had to renovate a 4 bedroom from scratch where I was getting in, I was trying to get the top of the top dollar and ARV. Well, painting, flooring, that's a given. Kitchen, that's a given. But this property looks pretty good for the most part. See nice finishes on the bathroom. Kitchen looks great. I mean, it's a pretty sound looking home. And this property is being listed for $192,900. 4 bed, 2 bath, 1939. That's about a $99 per square foot ARV. All right. So if you've been following how we've been analyzing deals, you would know that typically anytime we see a 4 bedroom home in this area, let me go check the average market rents first. And to get our average market rents, we go to affordablehousing.com. We go to the owner section. We'll go to the market rent estimator, plug in a bedroom count, plug in the address, and you're going to see that our average rent is $1,415. Whenever you see that, we already know that you got to be in the low 100s to even make this anywhere close to being a deal when you're buying this property on the market. We know that's not the case, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't spend your time adding to your comparable sales list, right? As you look at these properties on the market and you see trends of what these certain 4 bedroom properties are selling for in a certain area, well, you should be adding them to your list. So for example, 35214, I've been keeping track of all these homes that have been sold in the last couple of months. And today, this is going to be no different, right? Now, these were all sold homes. That's going to give you the most accurate prediction or indicator of what your average after repair value is. But obviously, it's an art, not a science. So that's why you got to use some judgment here, right? And this is 1939 square feet. 1939 square feet. Actually, let me just kind of put this to the side so we can just do it side by side. This would be the easiest way. And the reason I'm building this list out is because as properties, 1975 built, renoed, 1997. As these properties continue to come onto the market, I'm now keeping track of what they're coming onto the market for. So as properties go up and down in value, as properties go up and down in dollar per square foot that they're being listed at, that's a pretty big indicator, right? If you look at all these 4 bedroom homes, they've been like the high hundreds. This is the first time this has been below $100 per square foot, except in the case where there were 2,700 and 2,900 square foot homes that were being sold. So you got to be really, really careful about this stuff, because as they go down, you got to really pay attention. You can't just assume October 7th. You can't just assume that the market's going to keep going up and up. If the market moves, you got to pivot with it, all right? And I'm still going to break down all these items here about the space. Let's see. Is there anything I need to know from here? Nope. The problem is I don't see the lot size on this home, so I'm going to leave that blank for now. It's not a must-have, but it's a good to have because you always want to be within like a 10%, in my opinion, 10% radius, 10 to 20% radius of what your lot sizes are. And all these homes were in Smithfield Estate. Where is this one? Where's the closest neighborhood? This is going to be closest to North Pratt and Central Pratt. Okay, cool. So a lot of the homes that were on my previous neighborhoods, right? All these properties, these were all being sold closer to this area in Smithfield Estates, which is going to be across the 78. So it's good to get some comparable sold properties here on the left, because now this is the only sold comp, once it sells, right? Assuming it sells, in North Pratt. And that's what you're going to be really wondering about. Okay, renovated, modern kitchen and bathroom, all new flooring or LVP, or refinish hardwood, which I saw in one of the photos, and new paint. Vacant during listing. All right, cool. Now that I got these numbers in there, I'm now adding to my built list. Now, if you want to look at this deal and you want to see us how we underwrite, I'm going to show you how we underwrite this really quick. All right, so for 776 Lamplighter Circle, let's go ahead and plug in some numbers. This is my spreadsheet. In B4, I'm at 192,900, which is my asking price. For my rehab calculator, I'm just going to leave it at 3,500 to $4,000. I'm not even touching that. If you want to go through the rehab calculator, you are free to do so. I always just typically leave about $1,500 for the roof. I leave about $500 for landscaping in row 46. Usually I replace some of the toilets with high pressure flush toilets. So I'll put that as 132. And row 132, excuse me, that's gonna be about $3,500. Right? Super, super easy. For my rental rates, I'm just gonna take the average market rent right here for $1,415. That's it. All right. Now, could you compare it with your HUD FMR and say, hey, does this match up to my rent ceiling for $1,580? No, because remember, typically in this market, because we've done it for so often, we typically, or better said, we rarely ever see a average market rent on affordablehousing.com exceeding what the FMR on HUD's website is, which is typically what I would consider as a rent ceiling because it also includes the utilities. Now, in case you don't know what the rent reasonableness test is, I'm going to bring that up to the Housing Choice Voucher Program Guidebook. On the HCV Housing Choice Voucher Program Guidebook, which was previously known as Section 8, in Section 2.2, there's a test called the Rent Reasonableness Test, which means that the PHA, or the Public Housing Authority, must determine whether the rent to the owner is a reasonable rent in comparison to rent for other comparable unassisted units. So obviously size, unit type matters, but you typically never see 4-bedroom apartments get created. So that's why I'm really confident that these 4-bedroom homes on the market rent estimator from affordablehousing.com is accurate for single family homes. That's why I'm using this number. Okay. So when you have this number here at 1415, let's plug in the rest of our expenses. For property taxes, I'm going to get it right from reference website 65. Obviously, you should double check with your county assessor records before you buy the property. Homeowner insurance, this is 149. So I'm going to do equals 149 times 1.2, adding a 20% premium, because this probably assumes you're buying this property as a primary residence. When you are using it as an investment property, typically there is an additional 20% premium. So that's why you're multiplying it by 1.2. Okay. You have your maintenance and your war chest, which means that this is money you're setting aside every single month for maintenance, landscaping, or just for a big capital replacement, such as your roof, which I just got a roofing bill for about $15,000 on a Scottsdale property. I've also seen a $3,500 bill for our parts on our HVAC units. I mean, these things adds up really quick, and you know that the water heater is going to replace in 10, 15 years, no matter what. So you better put aside money every single month, because that money doesn't belong to you, especially if you are a long-term buy and hold investor. So please keep that in mind. Don't be that person getting a $15,000 bill and then realizing you didn't make any money for the past 10 years because you didn't put aside any money, because you were overestimating your profitability because you were underestimating your expenses. All right, then you get 10% for property management expenses. And you get 5% for vacancy, because every home goes vacant eventually. All right, just a matter of time. And there's going to be some time of the month where you just don't collect rent. Okay. All right, so at 1415 for our rent would be negative $145 of cash flow a month. That's let me just do the math over here. I forgot to tell you guys. For F19, we'll put 25% down. So my down payment amount is going to equal to my B4, my asking price, times my 25% down payment percentage right here. 2.5% for closing costs is very typical. I got E25 for my renovations. And then in K6, my financing amount is going to equal to my asking price in B4 minus my cash to seller. That's going to equal to $144,675. Our interest rate is going to be at 7%. That's what I've been seeing the numbers floating around. And based off of those numbers, guess what we're going to have? We are going to have a total of negative 145. That's a negative 3.1%. Negative 3.1%, assuming you bought this property for $192,900. So for this to be a deal, right, what do you need to be true? Let's lower asking price all the way to $100,000, let's say. Oops. 105, 110, 108, low 100s, like I said. All right. So in order for you to achieve a target return of about 10% return, right? Again, 10% is not the number that everyone needs to reach, nor is it even a number that you have to target specifically. But this is a number that's really, really important. So at 10%, 14, 15, percent one technically, you want to round up, we'd be cash flowing $279 a month, assuming you get this property 180. So that's why I was telling you that I don't believe that this property was going to cash flow, right? As soon as I saw the number of 192, I already knew it in the low 100s, the only way you can cash flow for a 4-bedroom home in this market, based on the average rents I'm seeing. That does not mean, to be clear, right? That does not mean it's not a deal, right? Because your definition of a deal is going to be very different than my definition. That's why it's not investment advice. I don't know what your execution risk looks like, because do you have a contractor that is going to show up and do what they say they were going to do? That's a big question, huge question. Please, please, please make sure you think through that. So because it's not a deal, 108, 192,000 just because I bought it, doesn't mean that, hey, maybe I can buy a property for 80, 90 grand, put enough money to make it look like this property, but then all of a sudden I can make it worth 192 grand. When you make a little bit of money in that situation just by refinancing it, doing the BRRRR strategy, which means that you are buy, rehabbing, renting, refinancing, repeating, that certainly could be the case. So please, please, please keep that in mind, and don't assume that just because it's not a deal right here does mean there isn't a use for this property. In this scenario, you saw how I was analyzing and adding to my BRRRR comparable sales list so that we can actually have it all together. Okay. I hope you all have an amazing day. I hope you all had a great Monday. I know I had a great weekend. I spent the weekend at Disneyland with my daughter, but I still went live. I was tired at night, but I still went live. So my hope is that you copy my homework today, right? Analyzing the same deal I analyzed today using the same spreadsheet. I didn't make this spreadsheet from scratch. You can go to affordablehousing.io, put in your name, email, your phone number, get the free deal analysis tool, and that's the fastest way for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. All right? Copy my homework. Put it on your YouTube channel. Don't give me any credit. Find one thing, just one thing, to explain better than I did. All right? I hope you all have an amazing Monday. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 374. Have a good night, everybody.